Hello and welcome to another quick cast, and it will be a quick one this time around. And this time we have actually got a pro level game, and it is on a map called A Daring Pursuit. And I thought this was interesting. It's a reasonably short game, maybe not the best cast ever, but because it's on a really cool map, I thought I would give it a whirl. And of course it is pro level action, so we can see what these guys do. So let's go ahead and unpause this replay and get started. So we have got all four pros in this. Well, I say pros, compared to me, lots of people are pro, but in any case, we have got Blackheart. He has gone for his nice light purple. I should really come up with a name for that, and he is going UEF. We've seen a lot of UEF from him around here recently, and we have got Lude Gothic Lolly, who is of course Petric Bones, and he has opted for Seraphim. We have got down in the south team, we have got Bloodier, and he has gone for Cybran because why not? And we've got Mephi, and he is in his usual light green color, and he has gone for UEF as well. Now the reason that I think this map is really cool is that you can actually you've got a lot of options for your initial raiding, so you're going to see quite a lot of action from the ACUs in the center, I would think, because there's a lot of reclaim in the middle here, but you've also got a lot of opportunity to get units around the back, and it's going to be quite critical to expand out. I'm not sure whether this game was originally supposed to be a 12 player, 16 player map, I'm not sure, but there's a lot of extra points out here, and you really need to get your engineers out there. And so because you've got engineers all over the place, there's a heck of a lot of opportunity for raiding, and well, it could make for some really interesting gameplay, and your initial base is actually open from all sides, so it's really vulnerable, and I'd be really interested to see how these guys actually play this. So we can see Bloodier is actually going first land. He's throwing down an air factory next after his hydro and a few PGNs. He's got his initial mixes, and then he's heading into the center with that ACU to try and scoop up some of that reclaim, and I've actually just missed it, but there was a fantastic first bomber there from Blackheart, and we can see that there's, by the looks of it, 3 NG wrecks, and we can see in chat 3 kills. Yeah, there we go. 3 engineers with that first bomber. That is a really nice little touch, and there's a couple more perhaps. Yes, one more, and there was a bit of dodging there from Bloodier, and it did cancel the build orders, but that first bomber is doing an excellent job of harassing, and it really hasn't put Blackheart behind on eco, and now he's onto the power, where he's taken out the engineer that was building power. There is an anti-air turret going down, but that is really going to distract Bloodier. It's going to suck up some of his APM, and it's going to cause a little bit of a problem. He's going to be behind on power. Well, actually, Blackheart is the worst behind on power because of that first air build, and he hasn't even got his Hydra online yet. So we'll have to see whether it's really worth it to get that first bomber out, because he's really suffering in the power game as a result. And looks like Bloodier has got the anti-air turret online, and he managed to take out that bomber, so the nice range on that has meant that it's been quite effective. We can see Bloodier's now got this engineer. He's coming out. The plan is to go all the way to the back here and pick up that expansion. We're going to have to see a lot of these expansions going on just to keep up with the game, because these guys are going to be grabbing reclaim, they're going to be grabbing nexus all over the show, they're going to be raiding everywhere. It's going to be quite interesting, so let's see how this plays out. And we can see them scooping up as much mass as they can. They're pulling in quite a lot of it. Often they're prioritizing scooping up mass over getting shot by the opponents, but that's alright because they really want to bring that mass into their buffers. Okay, so we've got all 4 ACUs predictably sitting in the center now. There's actually very little support from both of them, so we'll see if anybody manages to get a 2v1. I'm not sure. Well, it looks a little bit dangerous for Petric here, because he could get cut off with these 2 ACUs and push him off to the left, but of course that would leave Blackheart alone in Mephi's base, and that's probably not the best idea. So Mephi's probably really keen to avoid that, and he's actually thrown down a PD, so that's going to ward Blackheart off, and it's going to push his ACU back. Both of these guys down into the yellow. They're both UEF, so they do have the exact same number of hit points, and we can see a PD going down from Bloodier as well. So if Petric continues walking into Bloodier's base, he is going to start getting fire from that. And where has Bloodier put his ACU? All the way up here. So he's actually gone back to grab that reclaim, and he's not really prioritizing attacking the other guys just yet. We can see a little bit of an engagement there. There is a couple of Mantis against the Bam, and the Mantis come out on top, And well, there's actually another little bomber here as well. So that could be planning to come and harass, and that's exactly where he's going. He's put that bomber out to this expansion, expecting to be able to find an engineer there and pick him off. So far, Bloodier only has this one engineer, and it looks like Petrick is anticipating, or trying to anticipate, where the engineers might be, and he's going out. He's going to pick up that mix, but he is going to run right by the engineer, but the radar on that bomber is going to mean that he's going to see it pretty soon. And in contrast to that, the top team, they have got engineers out, well, not all over the place, but more than the southern team, and they are starting to get those expansions down, and there's actually not a lot challenging them. There's a single Mantis out here, but not a lot so far. Alright, so it looks like Bloody is being a little bit cheeky, and Petrick didn't put a PD down in his base initially, so it looks like Bloody might actually have a little bit of a chance to take that out. Well, it's got some walls going up now, so that is going to be a bit of a problem, and Bloody is actually going to be have to be really careful, because he's now cut off between Petrick's ACU, Blackheart's ACU, and a bunch of T1 units from Blackheart. So that puts Bloodier in a really risky position. I'm not sure what he's planning to do. Maybe he's trying to gap it around behind, between those rocks, and get back down to his base. That would be probably quite a good idea, but there's already enough T1 from Blackheart to really harass, and there's probably more online than the bottom team have got put together. It looks like Bloody has actually been caught, so the ACU is coming in. He does have a lot more health on the ACU than Bloody does, but he really doesn't want to be caught back there. He's going to start taking the fire from T1 units, and it looks like Petrick's actually got a transport out, and he's been using it to perhaps expand a little bit more quickly. How are they going in the mass game? Well, Mephi sitting on 19, Blackheart on 23, so doing very well in the expansion. Petrick sitting on 15 and Bloody on 13, so Bloody are really having a hard time expanding, and his ACU is a little bit caught. This is going to be quite a problem here, because he is now surrounded by Blackheart's units, Petrick's ACU, and this game is starting to take a little bit of a turn for the worse for Bloody. He's down into the yellow. He's got 4,000 HP remaining. Looks like Blackheart's actually bringing his ACU across just to make sure that Bloody does not get away. And there's a couple units in there from Bloody just trying to support. I don't think it's going to be enough. There's enough hit points left on Petrick's ACU and Blackheart's ACU. Well, actually, Blackheart's well down in the yellow as well. He doesn't have a lot. The problem is not the best idea to wander within range of the ACU definitely, but Bloody is down into the red, 1900, 1700 health. There's enough health left on Petrick's ACU to take him out one-on-one, and there's not a lot of hope now for Bloody. Unless he's able to bring a massive swarm of T1 in, which he just doesn't have, he's not going to be able to ward away Petrick's ACU. Now, Petrick did get right down into the red there. We could see just before that explosion blinded us that he was down at the red, so he did lose the health from that death note, and that's going to be making him, well, a little bit vulnerable. We can see he's sitting on 2300 if Mephi had enough, and we can see this full share is actually on. So it means that all these factories here that Bloody had are actually now at Mephi's disposal. It doesn't mean that Mephi's going to be able to make a great comeback, because he still only has the one ACU, but it means that he has the extra production that Bloody has put into place. We can see he's immediately put those factories to use, and he's throwing some units out of there. I'm not sure that he has enough to counter the spam from Blackheart. It looks like that's probably going to clinch the game from this point, because, well, actually, he's well down into the yellow, into the red as well. So both of these guys are actually really vulnerable, and if these units were all to make their way straight across a Blackheart's ACU, they would actually have a really good chance, but I'm not sure if they're aware of that. Let's just have a look at Mephi's perspective and know he doesn't actually have eyes on the ACU. He knows he's over there somewhere, but he just doesn't know which one of those blips is the ACU, even though he is right there. He's still sitting on under 2k health, and we've actually got Petrick there, he's nutsing on 2900. So both of these guys really vulnerable to a push from spam, but it really would be the Blackheart ACU up there that would be the ideal target, because that's going to get rid of all the spam, and Petrick's not actually producing a heck of a lot of spam. We can only see a few factories online for him, and that's in contrast to all of these factories up here for Blackheart. So Blackheart using his superior eco, and he's sitting on, well, 35. Mephi's on 43, but that is a combined income, of course, because he has inherited Bloodier's income, and if he was able to take out Blackheart's ACU, but it looks like Blackheart is getting up to safety now, so he's taking the long way round the outside of the centre, and he's now throwing down an upgrade, so he feels he's in a pretty secure position. He's got a lot of spam online there, and even though Meffy probably could challenge him pretty well, that does leave Petrick pretty well unpressured to be able to build up and do what he likes. So this is looking really dire for Meffy, and we can see actually that Blackheart, well, Petrick and Blackheart have made a really good effort at grabbing all the expansions around behind their base, and even though there's a nice little number of raiding units popping up around here from Meffy, it's still nothing in comparison to all these empty mexes we can see in the back. There are a few engineers, but they are taking their time and just not able to really compete. In terms of combined income, Meffy's 49 is actually up against just about 100 income for the other two guys, so he is pretty much 2-1 out ecoed, and looks like Blackheart has finished there. He's got that health bump on his ACUs up to 5800, well into the yellow, and Meffy is sitting still in the yellow, 5000 hit points, and well, it looks like there's just too much online for Blackheart. All these factories just pumping out T1 spam, and Meffy is now starting to lose his army. It's not looking really good. He is going to start disappearing really soon, and he's pulling back. He's starting to get out of options. We can see Blackheart actually bringing his ACU right up there. He's bold. He knows this is the end of the game. He knows that he's got Meffy trapped, and this is going to be the end of it. So he's bringing up. He's using his ACU just to take out the spam. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some overcharges from him. Let's just see if he's got the eco to support it. He's actually got a lot of power and storage. He's grabbed enough PGNs and a couple of storages to be able to throw down overcharges reasonably effectively. He's even throwing down some PD just to make sure that that spam goes away, and that's really going to be the end of it. So Meffy, now he's able to perhaps just cope with Blackheart's push, but everything coming in from Petrick is really going to be the end of it. So that assistance from Petrick. So if it was 1v1, he had managed to take out one of those two players in the north when they were both vulnerable, then I think it would probably be a reasonably fair match. But right now, it's just a matter of time until Meffy is vaporized. All of that spam from Blackheart now pushing forward, and there's not enough to counter it from Meffy, and he's going to start losing numbers. So he's down to 5800. Looks like Blackheart is pulling the spam away just a little bit to try and make sure that the mantis coming up from these factories that people used to own, just make sure those guys aren't a problem. But once they finish mopping that up, they're going to come back and they're going to finish the ACU off there. We can see a T2 PD has actually gone down. That's a big problem for me. And that's going to be the end of it. We can see the range on that. We'll just switch over and we'll see the range. That is in range of his main base. Doesn't have the ability to take out any mixes, but it just means that his ACU is going to have to pull right back and really not be in play anymore. And once you've got the ACU out of play and it's just spam versus spam, you've got the T2 PD online. Now there's a couple of them, and there's as much reclaim as these guys want in the centre. I don't think they've actually got any engineers picking them up. Well, actually, I tell a lie, there are some engineers right here running around scooping up all of that massive Blackheart. And that is going to be the end of it. So Petrick is taking out that expansion that Bloody used to have. Well, what is this? This is a really nice touch. In the meantime, while I wasn't watching, Meffy has thrown together a T2 air factory, and he's actually got a bunch of gunships out, and those guys are going to come up here and they're just going to eat through. I don't think there's enough anti-air online, and it looks like Petrick is going to actually get taken out. Boom! So that is a really nice touch, and I don't think it's going to save him the game, but a fantastic little snipe there from Meffy, and he's pulled Petrick out of the game and just left Blackheart. Unfortunately, it does mean that Blackheart is going to sit there with his T2 PD and pound Meffy's base into oblivion, and there's just not a lot he can do about it. I think Blackheart's probably starting to get some air up online in response to that. He did have a couple of air factories before, just for a little bit of an air presence and some scouting, but right now, and he's throwing down a shield just for good measure. He's probably got enough power. He's actually up to 1.7k power, so we're probably going to see some T2 PGNs back there somewhere, perhaps inherited there. Or is that all T1? Wow, that is a lot of T1. Okay, so he's throwing up a shield gen. He's got plenty to run that, and he's either going to PD creep or just figure out another fancy way to take out this ACU. Meffy's actually managed to get back up to 11k health, so he's doing reasonably well, and he's put a T2 upgrade of his own on, so he is able to build his own triads in response. But that's not going to save this expansion over here, which is now getting overrun by T1 units. It is still all T1. We haven't actually got any T2 land in the mix yet, and there are some bombers popping out, so it looks like Blackheart's probably going to try and utilise some of those bombers, but there is actually no T2 land, which is producing. So it is still all T1 spam, but I'm not sure he actually needs to switch up at this point. He does have, well, he has all the mass he needs. He probably could if he wanted to, but it's perhaps not worth the APM, because he has got this expansion well under control. Even though there's gunships trying to defend it, there's just too much on the ground, and the artillery are just eating away the couple of those factories, and there goes Mephi now. So that was the end of that. Mephi gives up, I think. I'm not sure there was enough, unless I don't think there's enough T1 bombers to kill him, but that was the end of that one. So pretty short and sweet game, but a really interesting map. It's going to be quite hard on your abilities to really control a lot of things, because these guys had to get expansions out all the way around the back, look after them, secure them, and stop them getting raided. So that's quite a big ask. Unfortunately for the bottom team, for Bladir and Mephi, they just weren't able to get enough around the back to take out that eco, and it really gave just a massive, almost 2-to-1 eco advantage to the North team. And when you're 2-to-1 eco advantage in such close quarters and you're just spamming, there really is not a lot of chance to come back from that, and especially when you get T2 PDs outside your base, and especially when you're playing Blackheart and Petric Pones. Alright, so that was a fairly short game, quite a nice little view of this potentially cool map. I wouldn't mind seeing a few more games on this. I think it could afford some pretty cool gameplay. So the map is A Daring Pursuit. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll move on to the next one.